month, I get 4 different versions of my wife.
Correct. And I'm at the point now where I don't expect you to try to figure me out because I can't figure me out. And this is when it clicked to me, right? He was like, when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think about? I said, well, open my eyes, thank God for another day. And then I'm like, all right, well, what do I got to do for the day? The kids have this, that, and the third. I got to do this, that, and the third, work, everything else in between, all my errands I have to run. Why? And he was like, so where do I fall in the list of things that you think of?
Now, a lot was said in that clip. When you think about this, I want you men to understand one thing. Women don't know themselves. Women don't know who they are. They don't know what they want. And they are constantly ever evolving and changing into something else because they're on a spiral to the end of their fertility. And at that point, everything changes for a woman. And they're constantly, and it's a very fast transition, man. It happens over about, maybe 40 years, 30, 40 years. And that seems like a long time, but it's not a long time between 20 and 60. Especially when you're living life and you're enjoying life and you're building things you want. But I want y'all to understand something that she said. It took her all of this time to realize that she can't expect him to understand her. No, that's women. Women always say men don't understand women. Women don't understand women. It's the book of AlphaRonomy. Read it or weep. How am I going to understand you and you don't understand yourself? But here's what I want you to understand. She's not asking you to understand her so you can be better with her. She's asking you to understand her so you can help her figure herself out.
Every month, I get 4 different versions of my wife.
Correct. And I'm at the point now where I don't expect you to try to figure me out because I can't figure me out.
I remember my mom saying, it's my body and my body goes through things, but not knowing what she was talking about because no one said it. But I remember my mom coming in a room at 9 in the morning and like doing things. And I'm like, why would you just do that? Like there was a better way of going about it. And then she'd be screaming and hollering and leave. And now when I look back on it, I'm like, bro, she was probably hormonal. Her and my dad were going through whatever issues they had. So then typically once that happens, it comes down to the kids. And I wish that someone would have prepared me for it because even being a mentor to so many young men who come from single parent homes, all they say is, yo, she's crazy. My mom crazy. She's wild. I wish I would have known what I know now. It could have been something very simple that if I would have known, I could have prepared the track girls. I could have prepared the football players. Your mom's not crazy, bro. Your mom is going through something. This conversation needs to be had not from one-sided, but both sides. Because most women don't even know their own hormones. I'm asking this publicly to please give us as men grace because we have no idea.
Tell us the truth!
And this is when it clicked to me, right? He was like, when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think about? I said, well, open my eyes, thank God for another day. And then I'm like, all right, well, what do I got to do for the day? The kids have this, that, and the third. I got to do this, that, and the third, work, everything else in between, all my errands I have to run. Why? And he was like, so where do I fall in the list of things that you think of?
I said that to her.
And I was like,
New Year's Eve, 2020.
I was like, and that was like a gut punch to me because I was like, wow, I'm really out here covering all these bases, but the one base that always holds me down.
This is what happens when you put a woman in a position that's too comfortable. She starts moving like a single woman. That's why I tell you, you got to keep a woman busy. You got to keep her locked in on getting to the paper or locked in on assisting you or locked in on something because she'll get comfortable and she'll start believing it's all her.
How dare me? And at that moment, I said, never again will I do that.
That's good.
So now it's a thing where when we wake up in the morning or even before we go to bed at night, we'll have a little recap of the day. What do you have going on tomorrow? You wake up in the morning, babe, how you feeling? How's your spirit? How you know, what do you need help with today? What can I take off your plate to alleviate a little bit of stress or a little bit of confusion or something? And it could be something so simple.
See, now we get to talking about the help me mindset. But I want you to understand something. It's great that she has that mindset now, but they had already been married for years. No one taught her that. She didn't know that. And that's the main thing that these women don't understand. They want to be a wife, but they don't even know how to be a wife. They don't know what that level of responsibility is. Because if I'm making your life easy, if I'm taking all of the heavy things off of you, if I'm taking the bills off of you, if I'm taking the debts off of you, if I'm taking the concerns about well-being off of you, that's the weight of life. That's the weight of the world I just took off you. But my benefit that I get from you for that is that you go focus on yourself because you weren't taught reciprocation. And I think that's one of the major things in this environment. Women don't understand reciprocation. They think they're supposed to just take. They don't understand that there's a reciprocation that's required. And that's what he did. He asked his wife, well, why aren't you reciprocating to me? Where do I fit into your life? Because look at all of the things I'm doing to afford you the luxury of just being able to wake up and go think about what you want to do. You don't have to do anything. I take care of all the things that have to be done.
Right now, we are talking about what happened on Lip Service. Deval Ellis and Kadeen Ellis were on. And they're a married couple, and they were talking about what do you do when your wife doesn't want to have sex as much as you do. Here's what he said.
You know how hard it is for a man to try to be monogamous to a woman, and then when he's ready to have sex, the woman act like she's bothering him. Especially when you're in relations for a long time. There's a lot of women who just like, oh my God, you want to have sex again? It's like, yo, I'm trying to be everything to you and only give you this. This is what I need. And then you act like it's a bother. And then when you have sex, it's like, fine, yeah, take it. So now we have whack sex when we have sex, or you don't want to have sex and you expect me to live like that. So then dude's like, you know what, I can't keep saying it because I don't want to bother her. So let me just go try to get it. Then he get caught.
No! I am not allowed, based on our marriage laws and the contract we signed with each other, to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss as a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody? Like,
well, we know that you pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
A few moments later.
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can want something, but not.
You right now, you're dodging the question.
Nobody pressed you to do it. Yes, is that something I wanted? Yes, it was. But
you didn't press me. Are you going to lie now
so
to the people because we're talking about sex?
Deval,
you're going to lie now to the people?
Deval. Knowing
Kadeen, you didn't want monogamy?
Of course I did.
So then why are you avoiding the question?
That's not avoiding the question. I'm saying, does that mean because I want it and I requested that you were going to deliver it? Like, nobody.
I want you to think of how she's moving the goalpost. If a man wants you and you say, okay, for us to be together, I want monogamy, then yes, you are pressuring that man. You're saying, if you want me, this is the only way you're going to have me. And if that man really wants you, you have given him an ultimatum. Ultimatum equals pressure. It's automatic pressure. Either this or nothing. That's what an ultimatum is. So you see how one will move the goalposts, and look how condescending she's speaking about it. Like, man, I ain't make you do this. I ain't had to do none of that. But she ain't saying that about none of the things he's provided. I bet if he asks her about provision, I bet if he asks her about the bills, I bet she ain't gonna say that. No, I ain't tell you to pay. You ain't had to pay the bills. I could have paid all the bills myself. She ain't gonna say that.
I pressed you for that.
Time out. You just said you wanted it and requested it. Do you not hear yourself?
I can make a request. Is the request going to be granted?
Am I not granting you monogamy?
You are granting it to me.
So this is my question.
Look at your boy. Look at your boy.
This is my question. If you wanted monogamy,
okay,
why would you want monogamy if sex is a chore for you? That's the question. You're avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question, but at first you said women or in general me specifically are pushing monogamy on somebody. Okay, yes, that's something that I wanted, but I didn't press you for it and be like, Deval, I'm gonna hold a gun to your head to propose to me. Because if I knew that marriage and monogamy was going to involve me trying to meet you where you were at sexually for years to come, then I probably would have reevaluated it if I wanted to be monogamous anyway.
So that's fair.
Yo, that is what I'm telling you, man. The majority of women don't want the responsibility of monogamy.
Yeah, but we're not even talking about marriage. Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
Two people are dating. Typically in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman. I don't think that I was necessarily prepared or in the mindset to know that. It's almost like once you get into it, then you're like, oh, shoot, like this is what I'm going to have to keep up with.
I get that.
Us speaking as 36-year-old people know that now. Had I known that at 26,
I get that.
I would have to contend with that. Even in
that.
the dating realm,
I
then
get
it
that.
might have been something I would have reevaluated.
But I want y'all to understand something. How do you at 26 not know monogamy means that I'm only going to be having sex with this person? That's the definition of monogamy. It's just going to be us. Man, they don't care about no other part of monogamy. They just care about who you put your wood in. So how can a woman at 26 say she doesn't have the, well, I can see why she can say she doesn't have the common sense, but the wherewithal to understand that monogamy means I'm only going to be with you, because women don't have common sense. They don't have logic. They can't logically look at a situation and say, okay, if it's just going to be us together, that also means that I'm his only option for sex. They won't look at it like that. Why? Because that's logical. So you see the level of foolishness that we're dealing with as men?
Again, 26 and 27-year-old Kadeen was like, okay, here's the natural succession of life. You graduate, you're working, you meet somebody, you guys are dating. You want children.
Yes.
I want children.
Yes.
We don't want to wait too long or too late to have children,
Yes.
though now a lot of people are waiting until their 30s to have children.
And I understand why.
And we at that time felt like, well, we're doing everything in this natural succession that the forces that be have given us this timeline. However, I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive.
Let me tell you, man, what has a direct effect on women's sex drive. Being around your ass every day. Everybody who brags about this as if it's not reality have been married for less than 5 years. You get into those double-digit years, the intimacy, it just wanes. The connection isn't there, especially when children start coming. And here's the main thing. People don't set aside time for that. It's easy when there are no children. Once the children start coming, you have to put aside time for intimacy. Not just to lay down with each other and bang, 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 but you have to put practices into place that keep the desire burning. You have to do that. You have to keep the desire burning. On those weekends when, say, the kids are at their grandmother's house, then the wife should wake up in the morning and be cooking breakfast with some sexy on. Y'all got that whole day. Y'all ain't got to try to sneak around and get it in, but y'all have to set aside those times, because when the kids are home, those times don't happen. And you turn into this old couple that's only get it in when you're laying in bed at night, and it turns dull and stale. You got to keep it exciting. You got to keep doing the things that you used to do. You got to keep having those experiences that keep your adrenaline flowing, those things that keep the excitement of it going. Because if you resign to where all y'all do is get into bed at night and she cock her leg up, or you roll over on top of her, man, it's over. The sexual energy is over in that relationship. You got to keep that thing spicy, man. And so you got to set aside that time. Sometimes the kids at school, y'all got to take half a day so y'all can spend that half a day together. Y'all can go in the movie in the middle of the day in the matinee and sit all the way at the top, in the top of the stadium, seeing what can't nobody see you. And she may have to ride out a little bit in the movie theater. Y'all got to get that going. Y'all may have to take a day trip somewhere and get up in the SUV, and you riding in there driving, man, and she doming you while y'all on the road. You got to remember the things you used to do and figure out a way to implement them. Yes, it's going to be harder because time is more restricted, but you got to figure out a way to do it, because once the spice is gone, you're not going to last that long. So what I want y'all to understand is this. Take your time and make sure that you keep focus on each other, because the moment you stop focusing on each other and let everything else get in the way, y'all just going to be roommates. And I'm telling you, being roommates tied together by legal marriage is just a terrible life to be living. There's nothing exciting about that life. So if you want to keep your husband and keep your wife and keep that spice in your life, you got to figure out the time and places to make that sexual energy tight. You got to do it, because if not, once it's gone, it is one of the most difficult things in the world to restore that intimate energy connection between two people who started off as lovers and now they're just roommates tied together by marriage. Don't become that couple. Have these discussions. Work it out. But don't just talk about the problems. Y'all work on some solutions too. All right, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.